I'm your host, Kel, and as you know, I'm back at it again, always trying to educate, teach my people about things that we normally overlook and things that they don't teach us in school. So, as of 1778, the French were trafficking approximately 13,000 African people as slaves to the French and the West Indies each year. While slavery has been active in French colonies since the early 16th century, it was theoretically not legitimized by the French government until the Revolutionary Convention in 1974. Now, there's something I want to also add to that, just to verify some things, just to shed a little bit more light on this topic here. Dates might not be what is the information that I'll give here. Will definitely have can be compound with this. So check this out. I hate when this happens. Whenever I'm trying to get this thing going and it be acting up. Yo, every time I try to do this thing, I always see this idiot boy. I'm pretty sure y'all all know. No, not that. Not that. Go away.
Did you know France used to abduct children from
Yo.
Did you know France used to abduct children from Africa? It's estimated over 2,000 children were removed from their families and taken to mainland France. This took place between 1962 and 1984 on the Réunion Island. France's rural areas had been experiencing a declining birth rate and an aging population since the mid-1900s. So they began taking children from the Réunion to repopulate and rejuvenate these regions. The children were as young as 6 months to 17 years old. Once in France, they worked as farmers or as housekeepers for the rich. These children experienced all kinds of mental and physical abuse and mistreatments. As a result, some committed suicide and others were placed in psychiatric hospitals. These victims were known as les enfants de la Creuse, meaning children of the Creuse. Creuse is one of France's 83 departments. In 2014, the French Parliament recognized its moral responsibility to the victims. However, France been unwilling to pay compensation for the trauma they experienced.
So as you can see, right? I mean, as much as they are not gonna admit it. We are the apex predators, and we're the epitome of what human beings should be. And they're weak, and so they have to take us to blend with them in order for them to make offspring to carry on their legacy. And it's just a shame that if they teach us our history, which we have the Emancipate show for that, um, we will definitely see things from a different perspective. And maybe we'll treat each other different, and maybe our interaction with each other, we won't have so much hate when it comes towards one another and stuff like that. But it's going to take them to basically put this kind of information out there in order for it to reach our own people, because me and a lot of other people trying to teach or educate other people of our history, it works, but it goes but so far. Like, you have people that believe in the white Jesus, you have people that believe in white supremacists, you have black people that trying to be white and stuff like that. So when you have things like that, there, there's a lot of things that's missing, and people are not in tune with themselves. People are not woke, and people are pretty much afraid when it comes towards stepping and acknowledging their their birthright, and the kind of people that the kings and queens that we truly are. So if they say it, then it's more believable. But if I say it, it's more questionable. If you get what I'm trying to say. Anyway, moving forward.
In the decision that overturned Roe versus Wade, the Supreme Court did a historical review of laws concerning abortion. But there was a chapter that they seemed to forget. When the Constitution was signed, one of the articles said that the transatlantic slave trade was to continue unabated until 1808. And when 1808 came, that trade began to end. Not because of anybody's moral concerns, but because domestic slave traders thought that the international slave trade was cutting into their prices. So once the transatlantic slave trade kind of slowed and became very, very rare, where was America going to get new enslaved people? By breeding them. Black women were bred like cattle to produce children to continue America's production of cotton, tobacco, and rice and other goods. It was as simple as that. And in the Arkansas slave narratives, there's an account where a woman says they would put a man in a room with women they wanted to have children from. And sometimes they put a bag over the man's head because they wouldn't want him to see who he was having sex with. Because it could be his mother or his sister or some other relative. That didn't matter. What mattered were new human lives to be enslaved. There is a connection to the abortion battles of today, going all the way back to the slave breeding times in United States history.
And this is a book.
Once again, men are attempting to control the reproductive freedom of women. Now, some might say it's for the exact same reason, because we know for a fact that rich women in America will always have access to abortion, no matter what the law is.
Yeah.
But poor women in America will not. And if these poor women are forced to bring children into the world to be brought up in poverty, some might say that's just feeding the criminal legal system. It's feeding poverty in America. Whether that's somebody's intent or not is not something I'm concerned with. What I'm concerned with is that the past is speaking to us about what abortion means. I guarantee you this, no black woman who was being bred would have the right to an abortion.
So the author of this book is Marie Jenkins Schwartz. And it's always the white people telling the story. Notice? It's always the white people telling the story. They're always trying to be the savior. They're always trying to be the I don't know, man. They're always trying to be the savior. They're always trying to make it look like they're the knight in shining armor when it comes towards our people. Like, there shall be a time where we actually acknowledge our true being and our true purpose. But I wish a lot of these people would not tell our stories. I wish our stories was told by our people. It's just like if you go into school, you never get the true meaning of what Black history is. You never get what, like, a true author that's Black to tell our story, to detail it for us. It's always these people behind our stories telling it and profiting off of it for their gains, and then they act like they care. Like, it's really troublesome. Anyway, thanks again for joining the Emancipate Show. You know, keep your eyes wide open, and remember, we're not free. It looks like that on paper, but we're not free. I mean, we could move around freely, But in hindsight, we're free, but deep down in the system, we'll always be looked at as slaves. Unfortunately, that's gonna always stay with us. Anyway, thanks again for joining the Emancipate Show. Please do like, share, subscribe, and remember, we're kings and queens. Remember that. They want to put that word slave on us, but we're kings and queens. Anyway, thanks again for joining the Emancipate Show. I'm your host, Kel. Please do like, share, subscribe, and drop a comment below. Over and out.